Board, I'd like to take a few moments to walk you through the new PAESSP Board Restructuring proposal. We shared this with you at the last board meeting, and now I'm going to share with you the results from the committee work that you did. Next, we will look at why should we restructure the board. If you remember, we read the book together, Race to Relevance. And in this book, it talked about how it is more efficient for a governing body to be smaller. They actually recommended 5, which we decided against. But efficiency is the key reason. The second reason is fiscal responsibility. We broke it down cost per person for a board meeting. It was for the last board meeting in January, it cost $414 times 23 people, which was $9,522. With 2 meetings a year, only 2 meetings a year, that price is $19,044. And we currently have more than 2 meetings a year, so it's a large piece of our budget that we could be putting for other services. To the executive committee are next. As we look at that, the first thing is to add a 2-year presidency. Currently, we have a president for 1 year, and this would change, giving the president a 2-year presidency, which would allow the president to gain traction on programs or issues that they're trying to move forward and really let them learn about the process. Right now, many of our presidents talk about the quickness and the overturn of it. So that 2-year presidency. Second thing is there would be either one past president or one president-elect. There wouldn't be both. And then finally, we would remove the secretary. There would be no secretary. We look at the governmental board. If you remember, the new board proposal breaks our board into 2 different boards. The first one is the governmental board, and the second one is the representative board. The governmental board consists of the executive committee, plus there would be one elementary representative elected by the Board of Representatives for a 2-year term. There would also be one secondary representative elected by the Board of Representatives for a 2-year term. The duty of this board would be to be the governing body of PAESSP. They would meet 3 to 4 times a year in person and then as needed via video conferencing. The representative board would consist of all regional representatives, and their purpose would be to support members in their regions and to represent PAESSP throughout the state. Meetings, which would they attend? They would attend the fall at the conference, the fall board meeting at the conference, and they would also attend the summer board meeting at the board retreat. This will allow for 2 meetings, and we could also do virtual meetings throughout the year if needed. Representative board members may observe the governmental board meeting via video conferencing and through video conferencing that would be archived on the private board website. Board meeting, your committee work talked about the pluses, the cons, and provided comments. We will look first at the pluses. Your plus, what you said was the pluses of going in this direction, would that the principals would remain in their school more often, not needing to leave their building. It would be a time savings for principals and board members. We could provide virtual meetings for board members. Fiscal responsibility to members. Funding of other program services. Taking the money that we're saving, at least $20,000, it's probably going to be more, and put that toward other services. The 2-year presidency was attractive. More consistency in the president was also noted. Eliminating the secretary position, and it keeps regional reps right where they're at, and it provides a substantial cost savings for our board. We'll look at the cons. The first one you mentioned was that the district needs to support the president for another year. We understand this is an additional year for the president, and their superintendent would need to sign off on that. Also, how does alternative funding work? Where do the alternative funding reps play in? Are they part of the regional board? And what role would they play? Less networking with other reps and officers may make the job less attractive to board candidates, you said. You also commented that there'll be a smaller group making the decisions, that the committees will still need to meet, such as the conference committee and other ones, and there's always a tight board meeting in October already, and time seems rushed during the conference. Component was to look at your comments. And as we looked at your comments, they were very similar in nature. And the first one was video conferencing should be made available to governmental meetings for regional board members who would like to participate, who would like to simply just to observe and to view those. Next, someone noted that the archive board meeting online for regional board members to view on the private board website that is provided through PAESSP. This would allow board members to go back on their leisure and view the board meetings whenever they can. Next, there was a need for more information on how the elementary and secondary reps would get elected to the executive committee or the governmental board from the regional board. And finally, provide more time for October board meeting, because that October board meeting always seems rushed and hurried. Steps. First, we would have to bring this proposal to the board at the March 13th meeting. Simply for the vote would be to have the bylaw committee rewrite the bylaws to represent the new board structure. Those bylaws would not go into effect until the board votes on them. They would simply write a proposal of the bylaws to bring to the board in July. So the second step is the bylaw committee works on rewriting the bylaws to be completed by July 1st. They submit that proposal to the board of directors, and the board votes on the bylaws at the summer retreat. The bylaws would not go into effect until after they are written, and it would be discussed in the bylaw committee what time when the bylaws would go into effect, and that would be discussed also at the summer retreat. So I want to really thank you for taking the time to review this and carefully considering the new board proposal, and I wanted to provide you the most up-to-date information that you have so you would be prepared for the board meeting. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to give me a call at 610-960-2386 or by email at wziegler@pgsd.org. Thanks and have a great day.